Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 979. Okay, so the first big thing to talk about is that opening where we get narration of everyone's movements pretty much across Onigashima and how everyone and how everyone is moving forward. Everyone's like the Straw Hats, everyone in the alliance is moving forward with their part of the plan and whatnot. And the big thing that stuck out the most, obviously, is how in that narration we basically get told that Kaido's forces are completely unaware of what's about to happen, while also seeing Kanjuro make his way towards Orochi. So it really reinforces that at this point, it's really a race to see who can act first. And considering those French panels of Momonosuke like looking at the knife as he's being like dragged around by pretty much Kanjuro, it's safe to say that Momonosuke is about to make it a lot harder in order for Kanjuro to reach Kaido and Orochi before the invasion force makes their move. And he's gonna like try and make it. And yeah, really anything Momonosuke can do in order to buy time and make sure that basically that Kanjuro doesn't reach Kaido and Orochi to pretty much tell them all the details of the plan will definitely help everything. Will definitely help everyone in the long run, because whatever happens, Kanjuro is the make or break character in this situation. Like he's basically the one who basically knows all the battle plans. He knows all the strategies, and he could easily flip this thing on its head if Kaido and Orochi like pretty much know of those plans ahead of, even if it's just like a split, even if it's like just a moment ahead of time, they can easily come up with a counter strategy. But if Momonosuke can keep Kanjuro like busy and keep him and delay him arriving, then yeah, it can definitely it can definitely throw things out of order for sure. Now, the only thing I still do kind of question is how. The only thing I do kind of question about this whole situation is how like everyone is completely unaware of the general attack, like take out like pretty much knowing like the strategies and the tactics and whatnot. I'm surprised that no one knows about the general attack that's coming, especially with King there. Like, I mean, you'd think King would be patrolling Onigashima 24/7, but I guess like the party in itself is kind of a workaround, so it's not made impossible for our heroes. But yeah, that's kind of one thing I've started questioning is like with someone like King there who can easily like pretty much fly around Onigashima and survey the landscape. You'd think it would be a little bit harder. You'd think it wouldn't be that easy in order to sneak into Onigashima with him there, but maybe when we're thinking it, because either way it does. Either way, this is an opportunity in order this I guess with him not being out there, it is definitely an opportunity in order for him to be like not in order for our heroes to kind of get in. So it's an opportunity. It's just I find it weird he's not out there in some way. Now there's two. With all that being said, there's two major things to talk about with this chapter. First is that we get the reveal that Kaido has a son, and has a son named Yamato, and that he went missing earlier today. Now, the thing is, a little earlier in the chapter, we see someone watching over the straw hats, or more specifically, like Jinbei and Robin, as the rest of the straw hats like make their final preparations in order to charge into Onigashima. So I think that person that was spying on Robin and Jinbei is Yamato. But when it comes to the build-up for the character himself that we get in this chapter, I kind of already feel that Yamato even though we haven't gotten an official introduction to him yet or anything, I feel that already that Yamato as a character might be a bit of a wild card in this. Might be a bit of a wild card from this point on, in the sense where he won't necessarily be allied to anyone and kind of be doing his own thing, Like he'll basically be just kind of causing like pretty much chaos throughout this whole, like I'm saying when he makes his first official appearance, he's just going to be causing just pure chaos in a sort of Luffy style fashion almost. Like he won't be allied with anyone. He'll just be like doing his own thing or whatever else, and kind of be doing, or maybe I'm completely wrong and Oda's just gonna, and right now Oda's just gonna be playing up his disappearance introduction for last before saying that yeah, he is gonna be allied with his father. But even under those circumstances, if he were to, but yeah, even under those circumstances, even if we find out that Yamato just kind of disappears just out of randomly, and he is still allied with his father, even under those circumstances, I feel that Yamato is going to be just one of those like characters who just kind of who is going to be like just a bit of a wild card in this. Just even a wild card, like you don't know what exactly he's going to do or anything like that. Like that's just kind of the overall sense I'm getting, that even if he is allied with his father, or whether or not he's allied with his father or not, or just he does his own thing. Yeah, I am kind of getting the sense that the Yamato as a character, he's gonna be a bit of a wild card in this situation, and that he won't necessarily go with the flow of what's gonna happen almost. um, and and yeah, uh, yeah, just in knowing that Kaido has a son, let's address the big thing, which is that this reveals Kaido banged, which, yeah, considering how big he is, just kind of raises the question: how did any woman conceive his child without Kaido tearing them apart? Like, I'm sorry, I know it's a dirty place for my mind to go to, but Kaido having sex of any kind just seems impossible. Like, just looking at the man, how can this big giant of a motherfucker have proper sex have proper sex or pork anyone without tearing them apart, without tearing the woman apart? I'm sorry, that's just like, that is fascinatingly that is just a fascinating concept, and in some ways I guess you could say that I guess the same could be said for Big Mom, and look how many sons and daughters she has. But even Big Mom, even having even Big Mom ended up with a family and whatnot, seems way more plausible than Kaido. Like, so like the only way I could see like Kaido conceiving a child is if it was with someone his size. Like, really, that's the only way I see this shit happening. But like, yeah, I'm sorry, my mind went to a very weird, dirty, dark place. But it's like, Kaido having sex, it just seems implausible to me in some way. It really does, even more so than Big Mom. Um, but and yeah, I know it's kind of and weird transition, but yeah, one thing I briefly want to touch on is the banter between Jinbei and the Straw Hats about Luffy going after the others half caught and Zoro going after Luffy. Because yeah, it's one of those things where you can't help but feel a little bit of sympathy for Jinbei being a first timer, but at the same time, it's like you also say, yeah, you kind of need to get used to this. You might want to get used to this. You might need to kind of click into this and get used to it a lot quicker, Jinbei, because this is the daily dynamic they face with Luffy. So you better just adapt fast to it. And yeah, just the whole double take of Jinbei's sweat drop reaction to the Straw Hats panic is just pure gold both times. Although it does although I don't know, I guess on a more serious note, Robin does kind of say that it's basically good to basically have a more mature voice around, which yeah, it's interesting. I like when it comes to Jimmy, he's like the third or fourth oldest. He's like the third or fourth older member of the crew to join. So it's like, and Oda, of course, a while back, he did that whole thing with the with the Straw Hats and what they would be in terms of family sense. But so I wouldn't be surprised if he did one of those again. That we find out that Jinbei is kind of like the uncle of the crew. That's kind of just how I kind of see him, honestly. Um, but yeah, it is going to be interesting to see. But one thing it does bring up though is that it's going to be interesting to see what his dynamic going forward is going to be like. Because as Rowan says, he's definitely going to be a bit more of a voice of reason. So he's probably going to be a bit more on the strategy sense and help plan out strategies more. Even if Luffy isn't always going to follow him, I guess. um, and of course, in the end, they weren't wrong. Of course, in the end, they weren't wrong with the way the Straw Hats panic, because as we see for the last couple pages, the chapter Luffy has created a personal side mission for himself to steal the red bean soup and bring it back to Tama and the people of Okabura Town, which I feel is not only going to put him in direct conflict and rematch with Queen, but also with the other two All-Stars as well. And in that sense, it's already laying the groundwork for our monster trio to fight. The only question is how Luffy's stamina will hold out up until that point. And even if he succeeds in defeating just Jack, then how strong will he still be to fight Kaido? Like I can't even for as strong as Luffy is, I can imagine that fighting the three All Stars is gonna be a major is gonna put a major it's gonna be a major step back for him, and he might encounter a little bit of a problem, so to speak, with fighting Kaido. But that's just kind of, I think that's also kind of just how Oda likes to do it, is just stack the deck against our hero. So, but yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Control. Death Knight of May, signing off. Later, guys.